Morning, guys.
Morning, sir.
Yan. So, sino pang hindi nakaka-access nung module? Kasi nag-down yung Oble eh. Yan. Na-access nyo naman lahat yung module 1. So, nawalan halfway ng access. Okay, sige. Uh, I think, well, you can always access it after this, open forum. So, ang gagawin natin ay uh, go through the concepts discussed in the module, and then mag-butt in lang kayo if ever you need, if ever you don't understand anything, like malabo sa inyo. Yan. Okay. So yan, simulan na natin siguro dito. So dito, di ko kasi ma-access yung Oble, so gumawa na lang ako ng ano, ibang ng slides or something, just to just to have a point of discussion. Ayan, so continuum mechanics, no? So as discussed in the module, continuum mechanics deals with continuous bodies or bodies that has no break. Ayan. So can anyone share? Can anyone share? Since open forum naman ito, kung ano yung limitations ng continuum mechanics? Saan siya hindi pwedeng gamitin? Guys? Wala. Wala. Hello, good morning. Gising ba kayo? Ayan, so may nag-chat. Good morning. So yung continuum mechanics hindi siya pwedeng gamitin for particles, no? For bodies made of particles. Tama ba? Di ba siya pwedeng gamitin with bodies made of particles? I think pwede naman daw, sabi ni Ayrton. So pwede kayo magsalita. So actually pwede, no? Kaya nga natin siya gagamitin kasi wala namang bodies na hindi made of molecules, atoms. Tama? Lahat naman tayo made of particles. Eh. Lahat ng bagay na you will deal with. Pero bakit siya pwedeng gamitin? Kasi pwedeng uh, i-assume na yung body mo ay hindi made of particles. It's just made of like one indivisible block. Tama? And if you assume that you can we use continuum mechanics in studying like this bridges, flow of air across an object, and flow of water or fluid across a pipe. So yung mga examples lang ng applications ng continuum mechanics where it doesn't negligible yung error na makukuha mo kung hindi mo siya i-consider as particles. Basically, yung ginagawa niya sa ES-102, yun na yun, no? Basic continuum mechanics. Dito lang, ang gagawin natin is i-formalize lang natin. Ayan. And to formalize it, we have this indicial notation. So anyone na nalilito pa rin sa indicial notation, you can just say yes kung nahihirapan pa rin kayo sa here. Say yes kung naintindihan niyo yung indicial notation. Yan. So, yes daw si Ayrton, si Bill, yung iba. Yan. So very straightforward naman, no? Yung indicial notation. From here you can make it from here you can make it smaller by summation sign and making much smaller by removing the summation sign. Ayan. So actually ito ay ginamit as you can see here. Sir, tanong lang, if first live ba yung... Oh, yeah. Hindi gumagalaw, no? Ngayon lang gumalaw. Ayan. Ngayon lang siya nag-adjust. Yeah. So, yung indicial notation, sorry. Okay. So, as you can see here, ginamit to ni Einstein dun sa kanyang theory of relativity. Just because in theory of relativity, we're dealing with a lot of dimensions, di ba? So, very useful yung indicial notation. Paano nga ba siya nagiging useful? Ayan, so note lang here that you cannot use 3 indices in one term. 3 the same indices. So bawal ito. So if you really have to do this, then put a summation sign. Yun lang yung isang I guess kung hindi mo pa alam yung application ng continuum mechanics, very arbitrary rule, but it's very useful once you explore more in continuum mechanics kung bakit may limitation na ganito yung notation. Okay? Ayan, so one of the uses of continuum mechanics is to write in a very concise way coordinate systems. So instead of using x, y, z, we can use x1, x2, and x3. And for unit vectors, instead of I hat, j hat, and k hat, what we use is e hat 1, e hat 2, and e hat 3. And then we can just write a vector, for example, in this case, A, with components A1, A2, and A3 by a very concise way here. Vector A is equal to AN E hat N. So, di ba? Maliit na yung maiksi na yung pag-write natin ng vectors. Ayan. So any questions here? May hindi ba malinaw? Yan, wala daw. Okay. Okay. Now, we go here. So vector addition, very, very straightforward naman. So you have this notation here, C is equal to A plus B. You just transform everything into indicial notation. So here I use an index I. Note that I only use I twice in a term. So this is one term, and one term. So this is a valid indicial notation. And so I just wrote them in their indicial notation form. And canceling E hat I here, I know that Ci equals Ai plus Bi. Or if we can read this as the component, the ith component of C is equal to just the sum of the ith component of A and B. So it makes sense, no? Mag-butt in lang kayo, no? Kung or yes, very good. React with yes kung naintindihan nyo. Okay? Every slide. Ayan. Si Ayrton naka-no. Ayan, naka-yes na. Yan, good job. Now, yan, we move to one of the uses of indicial notation. No? So, this term, this indicial notation term, is actually how many? 9 terms. Kung nasa 3D case ka. So, now you can see, you must see here na how useful continuum mechanics is, especially for Einstein nung finormulate niya yung theory of relativity, no. He will not write very long equations, even though in reality if you're using the basic mathematical notation, tama, yung ginagamit niyo sa math dati, you'll end up having a lot of terms. So here, for 9 terms, there are for 9 terms you can now write 9 terms in just very one uh concise one term. Okay? Yan. So any questions here? So ang ginawa dito is first expand I. So yan, kopyahin lang to. Tapos palitan nyo yung I ng 1, 2, and 3. Next, palitan yung J. So kopyahin itong tatlong terms na to into 3 and then palitan yung J ng 1. Yan. Palitan yung J ng 1, 2, and 3. Okay? Yan. Any questions here? And may chat. Pwede po mag-appear twice parehas na index? Yes. Yes. Yun yung isang rule kanina. Ang hindi pwedeng mangyari ay thrice. So, as you can see here, in just one indicial notation term, I appeared twice, that's okay, and J appeared twice. Pero kapag thrice, you need to insert a summation sign. Yan. Okay ba? Ito, this one is very confusing, mostly sa students. Kasi there are two types of indices in indicial notation. One index, one index multiplies the number of equations. And the other index multiplies the number of terms. So yung kanina na nakita nyo, here is puro ito dummy indices. Right. if an index appears twice in a term, it is a dummy index. Okay? Yun lang. If it appears once, it is a free index. Yeah. So here, we can see that the dummy index is M and the free index is I. Okay? Now, in order for this to be valid, lahat dapat ng, ng free indices should be present in both sides of the equation. So, isa pa yung natatandaan nyo. Okay? So, if you're asked kung ano yung valid initial notation equation, dapat lahat ng free index, number one na you will look out is if the indices don't appear thrice in a term. So in this case, yung M, twice lang naman siya nag-appear, so it's okay. Second thing that you will look at is if the free index appears in both sides of the equation. Okay, so that's one thing you will look for. Okay, look out for. Any questions here? So here, how to expand the free index I. So we can expand the free index by expanding this initial notation equation into three equations. So yun yung ginagawa ng free index. Free index expands into equations. Okay? Yeah. So since 3D tayo, 3. 3 times siya nag-appear. Yung yung dummy index naman, it expands into 3 terms. So meron ka ng 3 equations. Now you expand M. So you will expand into 3 terms. Yan, 3 terms. So dummy is 2 terms, free is 2 equations. Ayan, meron ba tayong questions dyan? Naintindihan naman? You can say yes. Ayan, naintindihan daw ni Christian. Yung iba. Okay? Now, I'm sorry this was an error. Thank you. Thank you, Bill, for pointing out. Hindi ko na mapalitan sa uvle. Tinatry ko palitan kahapon eh. But I can't. This one is an error. Ang nakalagay dun sa uvle ay 2. So I'm sorry. Dapat 0 siya. No? Sino pang nakapansin na iba? Doon sa error. Yan, okay ba tayo dito? This is the real definition of Kronecker delta. May chat. Ay, di gumalaw yung slide. Sorry. Yan, gumalaw na. Yan. So, okay ba tayo dito? This is the real definition of Kronecker delta. So, thank you, Bill, for pointing it out. Yung original na nakalagay doon sa slide ay 2. 2 daw kapag I is not equal to J. But actually, dapat 0 siya. Okay, just take note of it dun sa notes nyo. Kung nag-notes man kayo from the lesson. Okay? Okay ba tayo? Here? Yan. Okay daw. And then, isa pang, yeah. This is the property. So if you expand this, Okay ba tayo dito? Have you tried expanding this? Wait lang. So let me prove this one. Yeah. Up to. So for example, in delta II. So this one is equal to delta 1, 1 plus delta 2, 2 plus delta 3, 3. Tama. And since this is the same index, this is 1 also has the same index, 2, 2, so equal to 1, and 3, 3 equal to 1. So that is equal to 3. Ayan. May questions ba regarding this? Okay naman to? Okay, sige. Next, siguro we prove the other ones. So, yung kanina na nakalagay is delta I m a m is equal to a i. So, how will you wait lang. So, alisin muna natin yung AI. How will you prove this? So, this one is equal to, so just expand it. So, first expanding m, no? I1, A1 plus delta I2, A2 plus delta I3, A3. Ayan. So if you expand this further, so yung I naman, yung I, this only has a value. So this only has a value if I is equal to 1. Tama? This only has a value if I equals 2. This only has a value if I equals 3. Ayan. So if if you think about it, you can just shortcut it into AI instead. Tama? Kasi yung I, it dictates what the subscript of A is. Ganun siya isipin. Okay? So this is a very important rule. Chat. Okay? Merong question about this? Okay naman, no? Okay naman. And lastly, let me let me Yan. So lastly, number 3, uh, these are unit vectors. E hat 1, E hat 2, and E hat 3 are unit vectors. So of course, in the normal Cartesian coordinate plane, they are perpendicular. Tama? Now, if you if you dot two perpendicular vectors, what do you get? If you dot two perpendicular vectors, what do you get? Zero. Tama, no? Zero. Okay. Very good, Nicole. Zero. If you dot uh, a vector to itself, what do you get? 1. Tama? 1. So, yun actually yung definition ng Kronecker delta. The same index, and the same index, you get 1. If they are not the same, you get 2. You get 0. Sorry. You get 0. Yan. Any questions here? Okay naman. Sir, other way to think about delta ij is that it represents identity matrix. Last sem, I actually discussed it being an identity matrix, but um, but medyo iffy na ako dun sa definition na yun. Pero you can think of it that way, but remember, yung sinasabi ni Paolo, I'll share. Yung sinasabi ni Paolo is that you can think of this one, of the Kronecker delta, as a matrix, as the identity matrix. Which is correct, no? Which is okay. Which is okay. So here, if the i's are the columns, so this is I. If the i's are the rows, this I equals 1, I equals 2, and I equals 3. And the j's are the columns, 2, and here j equals 3. You can see that if the I and j are the same, you get 1. If I and j are not the same, for example, here, you get 0. So essentially, para siyang identity matrix. But ito, a tensor can be represented by a matrix. Wait, have we discussed tensors yet? Hindi pa, no? Hindi pa tayo nakaabot dun sa definition na yon. Pero nasa module naman siya. A tensor can be represented by a matrix, but essentially a tensor is not a matrix. No, I just want to clarify that. Pero if it makes it easier for you to think about it, then yeah, next lesson po ata. Next lesson pa ata yung tensors. Pero yeah, you can think of it that way. An identity matrix. Okay, so next lesson pa yon for those who have not yet access yung next lesson. But sure, if it's easier for you to visualize it this way, then okay. Yeah. Okay lang. Ayan. So let me go back to here, isa pang error dun sa module. Thank you again, Bill, for pointing this out. No, hindi ko na mapalitan kanina and kagabi. Is this permutation symbol. So 1 siya if ij and k form an even permutation. So this is an even permutation. 1, 2, 3, 3, 1, 2, 2, 3, 1. Okay? -1 if it forms an odd permutation. So baliktad naman. 1, 3, 2, 3, 2, 1, 2, 1, 3. And 0 if it's neither odd nor even. Okay? 0 if neither odd nor even. So, kunwari, nag-repeat yung mga index. Yan. Essentially, pag nag-repeat yung index, yung permutation symbol natin is 0. Okay? So, yun lang yung um, yun lang yung definition. So, any questions here? Any questions? Naintindihan ba ito? Just click yes. Yan. Okay. Thank you, thank you. Ayan. So one application of the permutation symbol is in crossing products. Okay, cross products. Ayan. So this can be proven. Um, this can be proven by thinking about uh, if you have two vectors, no? If you have two unit vectors, ano yung magnitude ng cross products nila? So anyone, ano yung magnitude ng cross products? Magnitude lang ha, ng cross product ng ng two perpendicular unit vectors. Yan si chat. Yung makita yung chat. One. Okay. Sabi ni Bill, it's 1. Tama, no? So, 1 times 1, that's the magnitude. 1 times 1 sine theta. Yun yung magnitude, di ba? 1 times 1 sine theta, where theta is the angle between the two vectors. Since they are perpendicular, sine 90 is equal to 1. Ayan. So, 1 ang magnitude ng cross product ng two unit perpendicular vectors. Now, where is it directed? Yun yung tanong. So, where is it directed? IJK. Syempre, doon sa perpendicular, doon sa dalawa. So, if we go back to here, if you cross 1 and 2, then if you cross E hat 1 and E hat 2, then you get E hat 3. Tama? It's pointing to 3. Yon. If you cross here, 1 and 3, saan siya nagpo-point? It points to 1 and 3. It points to -2. Tama? So, ayan. So, pag even yung direction mo, positive. Pag odd, negative. So, ayan yung intuitive na, without even expanding this term, intuitively we can think about the result of this operation. Okay? Okay ba tayo dito sa permutation symbol? Yan, okay daw. Just click yes. Thank you. Wait lang guys. Sorry guys, yeah, I'm back. Next, epsilon delta identity. So this is an identity very important in continuum mechanics. So ipapakita ito sa, I think, module 5. Tama. So just remember this identity, okay? So you can prove this by just merely expanding this identity, no? Just remember na ano yung dummy index dito. Ayan. Ano yung dummy index? Anyone? Ano yung dummy index sa initial notation equation na ito? Yan, may chat. M daw ba? Yes, correct. M. Tama. Why? Because it appears twice here in this term. So, how do you expand a dummy index? You expand it by expanding it into 3 terms. Lahat na ng indices dito ay free index. So I appears once, J appears once, K appears once, L appears once. Same with here. It appears once in a term. So hindi sa isang side, in a term. It appears once in a term. And why is it valid? It's valid because lahat ng free indices mo ay present in both sides of the equation. Okay, naintindihan? Yes. Yeah. Good job. So pakitandaan lang. Ang ginagawa ko dito para matandaan ko kasi you can arbitrary lang yung mga letters dito ha. So you can use any letter you want as long as consistent, no? Ang ginagawa ko na lang para matandaan ko, yung first term is IK. So first indices IK, and then second indices JM. JL. IK, yung mga first indices, JL first indices. And then this is minus yung second term ko, ito naman outside. So first, second, parang outside, IL. Tapos JK, inside, JK. Also note na ang ginagawa ko rin para hindi ako malito is I write it consistently like this. Yung dummy index ko na M will always be the third index in the equation. So for example, let me share here. So for example, merong mga times na ganito yung nakasulat. A, B, C, D, E, F. That's wrong. No, dapat C rin pala ito. Something like that. Or even may nakasulat na pwedeng nakasulat na C, D, E. Yan. So how do we manipulate this? So first, ang ginagawa ko is I write the dummy index consistently at the third position. So dito, since C yung dummy index natin, A, B, C, epsilon, D, E, C. Okay? So nakasulat na yung dummy index ko at the third position of both epsilon. Here, what I do then is to transform this into deltas. So First, AD. Second, BE minus outside AE inside BD. Yan. Gets naman yung nangyari? Ayan, gets daw. Okay, good job. Good job. Malinaw ha? Malinaw. Okay. We move on to the next. Ayan, so ito yung sinasabing kanina, matrices. Ayan. So yung Kronecker delta daw is an index. Is an identity matrix. So here you can also think about, okay? Note na hindi ko sinasabing yung yung tensor, which is in the next module pa. But you can think about it uh two you can think about two into second order na Aij as a matrix. So kapag dalawang subscript, you can think of it as a matrix. Just for easier visualization. Okay? Now, for matrix transpose, babaliktarin mo lang yung indices, of course. Ayan. And then for determinant, ayan. So, ginamit din ito doon sa in the next modules that you will encounter. Determinant. So, again, you can prove this by simply expanding it. So, in this case, may free index ba dito? Anyone from you? May free index ba? Guys, is there a free index here? Wala. Okay. Yan. Tama, tama. Good job. So walang free index. Why? Because everything, this is just one term. Tama? One initial notation term. And everything repeats. Repeats once. Or appears twice. Ayan. So I, JJ, KK, RR, SS, TT. Yan. So, lahat ay dummy indices. And you can expand them by summing the terms. So, expanding it into terms. Okay. Same with inverse. Ayan. So, yan yung inverse. Medyo complicated lang. I just put it up. Pero, that's it. This is the equation for inverse. You can again prove this by expansion. Noting that ano yung mga free indices dito? Ano yung mga free indices? I and J. Tama. Why? Because I and J, so this is just one term again, because I and J appears just once in the term. And since they are free indices, they should also appear in the other side of the equation. Okay. Good job. Matrix multiplication. So yan, you can also think about matrix multiplication in terms of indicial notation. So note lang na parehas dapat yung parang inside. So, second here and first here in B. So, ayan. By proof. Ayan. So, ano ulit yung free indices dito? So, how many equations uh, are this one? If, for example, we expand up to 3, how many equations? Guys, how many equations? 6? Sige. Any other guesses? Pwede bang mag-poll dito? 80? Sige, poll na lang tayo. Ano question? Oops, nawala ata yung share ko. Yan. 9, may 6, may 18, may 27, may 9, may 6. Okay. So, ang tamang sagot ay 9. Okay, how? Sige, expand natin. Yeah. So, Cij equals A IK BKJ. Yan, tama? So, expanding the free indices first. So, meron kang C11, C12, C13, C21, C22, C23, and C31, C32, and C33. So you have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Tama. 9. 9 equations. How many terms? How many terms? So the terms are dictated by the dummy indices. So ang dummy index ko dito ay K. Tama? So K, yan. This is the dummy index. So if I expand this, for example, so I just copy I, no? So here, may value na yung I ko. Dapat parehas yan. So 1, 1, B, wait lang, para hindi kayo malito. I'll write it first this way. So C1, K, K1. Tama? How many terms can I expand this? So I can expand this into A11, B11 plus A12, B21 plus A13, B31. Ayan. So in total, you have 9 equations, and the right-hand side of those equations has 3 terms. Okay? Ayan. Okay ba? Yes, yes, yes. Naintindihan? Ayan. So, I guess okay na tayo. Magsabi lang kayo kung nalilito pa kayo. Ay private chat naman. So, huwag kayong mahiya. Okay. Let's share. Here. And more rules of indicial notation. So, marami na kayong rules na kailangan tandaan, but I hope you bear with me for more rules, no? Ayan, so ano bang nangyayari dito? Anong nangyayari? So, ang nangyari is that yung AI and BI use the same index. So, use I and M. No? Sige, I'll write this in the whiteboard para hindi tayo malito. Okay, I'll share the whiteboard. Oops. So, ang nangyari is that AI equals UIM BM and BI equals VIM CM. Now, what I want to do is put this here. Tama. But the problem is, yung index nito is M, yung index nito is I. So what I need to do is change I to M. So ito, here, BM. Tama? So VC. Now, the problem is that yung M, itong M na ito, ginamit na nung equation mo. So, the first thing that I need to do para hindi tayo malito is to change M. So, ang gagawin ko, instead of M, I can arbitrarily transform this into N. Okay? So, naging N na siya dito. And then, makokopya ko na yung M. Yung I naging M. So, yung I naging M. Now, I can now transfer this here. So that AI is equal to UIM VMN CN. Gets? Gets naman? Yan. Okay daw. Okay. Gets naman? Gets yung nangyari? So, just take note of this rule kasi may mga times na you will substitute some terms pero hindi consistent yung index niya. So, ang gagawin nyo, itatransform nyo muna consistently yung indices niyo. Okay? So that you can substitute it. Okay. Next rule. So I'll just post it here. Kokopyahin ko na lang yung rule. So yung next rule natin is that given P equals AM BM and Q equals CM DM. Ayan. So ang tanong is what is PQ? No? Is PQ AM BM CN DN? Tama ba yan? C. Tama ba yan? Is that valid, guys? No. Why is it not valid? Kasi 4 times yung dummy index. Dapat yung dummy index ko is just 2 times lang. Tama? Twice lang dapat. So anong gagawin ko? I transform, since arbitrary naman yung mga indices ko, I just transform this. Oops. I just transform this one to n so that I can write it in a valid way. Yeah. So PQ is AM, BM, CN, DN. Ayan. So this is now valid. Okay, gets naman, gets. Si Ayrton naka-no. Pwede po ba yung index, yeah, yung index ng P ang papalitan, same pa rin po ba yun? Okay, yes, pwede naman. Pwede. You can also, kunwari, gusto mong uh, palitan ito ng Z, for example. Arbitrary lang yan eh. So, PQ is AZ, BZ, CN, DN. You can also do that. No? Note na yung index ay as long as consistent kayo, you can use any index you like. Okay? Pwede ding kunwari inspired kayo, you can have heart ganyan, heart, B heart, C sun for example. You can use anything you like. Okay? Ayan. Just to make it fun. Okay? I think we have last rule. So, ang last rule for indicial notation discussed in the module is this. Nj minus lambda ni equals 0. So here, I want to factor out n. Meron siyang n. This one. The problem is, yung n natin has different indices. So what do I do now? What I do is utilize Kronecker delta. So I know that this one is, so ni is equal to lambda ij nj. Delta ij nj. Tama? By the Kronecker delta rule. So if I substitute that, lambda delta ij nj equals 0. Now I can factor out nj. So tij minus lambda delta ij, factor out nj equals 0. So, yeah. So I successfully factored nj out. Okay, that's one of the uses of the Kronecker delta. Kronecker delta. Okay ba? Understood ito? Yes. Okay. Yes daw. Okay ito, guys? Yes. Okay. Yeah, so we will recap today's class. So first, we defined what continuum mechanics is, what its limitation, and when, and then at what moments or at what times you can assume that a body is continuum. Okay, so if you're dealing with large bodies, like what we're dealing in civil engineering, we're dealing with a lot of large bodies. So hindi na mag-effect sa kanya yung quantum things. Although may effect pa rin, pero very minimal and negligible. Okay? And we defined what indicial notation is. We practiced some things in indicial notation. And we defined how to represent vectors and matrices using indicial notation. And we discussed some rules of indicial notation. Yan, good job. So, I hope uh, you have some time to verify the derived equations in this lecture. Okay. Now, what have you seen the formative assessment? Sino na nakakita? Let me check. Not yet. Okay. Down pa rin yung uvle. So, you can't access it now. But let me see if I have the file. Yes, I have the file. So, I guess I can share this. Yeah, do you see the uh, do you see the formative assessment? Yeah. So, yan. Can you see? Can you see? No? Yeah, yes. Okay. So I guess it's good para may guide kayo on what you're doing this sem. Para lang may guide kayo kung paano nyo gagawin ito, no? So, what happens here? Ayan, you got a letter from a colleague, from your colleague. And it turns out that your colleague is Iron Man. Yan, si Iron Man yung colleague nyo. So, ang gustong ipagawa sa inyo ni Iron Man is papatest niya yung suit niya. Ayan. So, papatest sa inyo yung suit. Are you excited to help Iron Man? No? No daw. Ayan. So one question here, which I think you can now do, is this. Compute the von Mises stress. Ayan. So I guess you can do this now, right? Ayan. So since you have knowledge on how to expand indicial notation, then I think that you can now expand this. Okay? So malinaw. So I want the formative assessment to be a guide for you. Now again, formative assessments, you can submit in any form you would like. So ito yung isang malaking chunk ng grade nyo. No? So as early as now, dapat nagsasagot na kayo. So I guess this can be done in just 5 minutes, di ba? Ayan. So any questions about this or anything in the lecture? Nagulat ba kayo? Sinong ano? If if you would rate it, yan, may nag-raise ng hand, si Bill. Yes, Bill. Yes, Bill. Do you have Do you have a question? Ayan, ito po. Hi sir, pwede pong humingi ng PDF version ng lesson po. Sige, I will upload it if you need one. Sige. Okay. Ayan. So, how was the first module for you? Probably I can set up the uh, para may interaction naman tayo. Let me share my screen again. Yan. So same as the first meeting natin, no? So I want to get your feedback from the lesson so you can go to Menti so I can know what you're feeling about the semester. You can say anything you want here. Yeah. Or wag na lang. Sige, basahin ko na lang sa chat. Ayan. So, okay naman. Okay naman. Medyo mahirap kung self-study. Yes. I understand na mahirap siya pag self-study. May goods. Okay, goods daw. Ayan. May confusing. Buti may discussion. Okay, overwhelming. So yes, overwhelming kasi we are discussing a new language, 'di ba? And you're not used to also I'm not nung una kong nakita yung continuum mechanics and the notations and I was just reading on my own back then. It was really overwhelming kasi di ko siya maintindihan. It's a new language. It's a new mathematics. So learning a new language is always confusing, overwhelming. Yeah. So if you have if you still have um if you are still confused with things, yan. So you can always chat me. Oo nga pala, napag-us na na nasabi ko sa course guide na gagawa pala ako ng messenger group, no? Nakalimutan kong i-discuss nung course orientation. But do you want to have those group? Or ano ba yung gusto nyong anong gusto nyong platform for those who are here? Okay na sa inyo yung messenger? Guys, messenger, FB group for immediate announcement. But FB group. But there is the sa Uvle eh. May announcement dun, page na dun sa Uvle eh. So, also I don't do Facebook that much kasi. So, ayan. So, I guess yan, Messenger, sige. Okay, tama. Mas mabilis kung Messenger kasi may free data din. Yes, I agree. So, ayan, please add me in Facebook. Yung picture ko is my picture with my dog and my girlfriend. So, madali nyo nang makita kasi may dog. Ayan. So, please add me sa Facebook. I'll check it now. And also, if you know someone na wala dito, you can always add them na lang sa group. Okay? So, any more questions? Ayan. So, mag-breakfast na kayo and good luck with your other classes. So, if you have no questions, ayan. So, I'll adjourn the meeting. Thank you so much for attending. Ayan. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, guys. Good luck. Yeah. So you may leave now. Thank you.